Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. It's a really beautiful day here at the Fast Company Grill. I am joined by a group of very exciting brand leaders to talk about how they build a cult brand. I'll let them introduce themselves in a minute, but I just wanted to say, there are few things as exciting from a consumer standpoint as when you see something, a new product, something that you were sort of wishing would exist. And I think that these three women here have worked for brands that have filled that space for a lot of people and sort of been a surprise for people to encounter and now have in their lives. So without further ado, I'll let them introduce themselves, their organization, and we'll get into it.
Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for having me, having all of us. Really excited to be here. I'm Elyse Cohen. I'm the Chief Impact Officer at Rare Beauty and the President of the Rare Impact Fund.
Woohoo!
Wow. Oh, thanks. Wow. Which is Selena Gomez's foundation. We'll talk a little bit more about it. Thank you.
You are a popular girl today. I am Kim, and I'm the founder and creator of Bogg Bag. Thank you, David, for having us and Fast Company. Excited to be here.
Amazing. So happy to be here with you guys. I'm Jen Zeszut. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Goodles, the Better For You mac and cheese. Thank you so much for having us.
We love our brands here at Fast Company. And I mentioned a little bit of this in my weird preamble, but, you are all playing in categories that really felt finished, right? And have such established players. But you came in and you filled a space that a lot of other people missed. Can you talk about how you found that white space, what it meant to, and how you sort of targeted it for really quick growth in every sense? I'll start in reverse order, I guess.
All right, yeah. I'll start. Indeed, we have one competitor which is 83 years old, another one which is 36 years old. And when we came out and said, well, what if we put in protein and fiber and nutrients and made it really fun and didn't just make mac and cheese for little kids, but we made it for young adults with crazy flavors and all this kind of stuff. What about that? And 100 VCs told us no. Who's a VC in this room? Okay. They all said no, it would never work. And for lots and lots of reasons. But the white space that we carved out, because in many ways they're right. Kraft, General Mills, some of the biggest marketers on the planet, they have so much money, and we just knew that we couldn't outspend them, we couldn't out-slotting for them, we couldn't rent cuter kids for our commercials, we couldn't afford a commercial, are you kidding me? So we had to out-something them, and we decided to out-weird them. We have the one thing that they could never have, and they probably wish they had, which is being small and being nimble and willing to take risks, which they kind of can't do. So our white space was that our big competitors thought that mac and cheese was just for little kids. It's even on an Annie's box today. You push the bunny's tail to open the box, and noodle art to do with your 3-year-old and stuff like that. And we were like, no, we can be able to do this, because if we were successful and we could lure young adults back to the mac and cheese category that they haven't eaten since they were in the dorms and whatever it is, we could massively grow the category. And honestly, retailers, they're kind of partial to their Kraft and their Annie's revenue, so they want new revenue. So we said, we will go in and we're going to grow that category. And that's what no one believed we can do, and that's exactly what we've done. So, yeah.
Great. Kim?
So for Bogg Bag, I just needed a better beach bag. None of the beach bags that were on the market were working for me. We were constantly going to the beach for the full day, and I needed something to carry everything, something that wasn't going to collapse and fall into the sand. So after looking for what I perceived to be the best beach bag out there, I couldn't find it. So I decided to make it myself. And we created the EVA bag space. And it's been wonderful, and our fans and people who are buying Bogg bags love them. our retailers. We're in 9,500 doors across the country. And the beauty of our product is we can range from Dick's Sporting Goods to a Nordstrom's and a Bloomingdale's. There's a lot of runway left with Bogg Bag, and now it's just a matter of combating all the damn dupes that are trying to copy what we're doing. So, yeah, it's been great.
Awesome.
So for us at Rare Beauty, really instead of starting with a product that we didn't feel like existed in the marketplace, we started with a mission that we felt like didn't exist, particularly in the beauty space, which has historically been an industry all about covering up who you are, having these high levels and standards of perfection. And we really took that narrative and we flipped it on its head. And we said, let's build a business that's really true to our founder, who has struggled with her mental health, been in a beauty chair since she was 7 years old, always felt these unrealistic standards of perfection, and let's create a community around embracing who we are, breaking down unrealistic standards of perfection, using beauty as a tool to do that, and talking about mental health and self-acceptance along the way while also giving back to the cause. So that for us was this big white space, and it's always been not just about our products, but we always say people come for the products, but they stay for the mission.
All right. People showing off their rare beauty.
I love that.
And I think, everything you're talking about from category innovation to fully new product to fully new ethos, that makes it really hard for both incumbents and anyone after you to follow up, right? Because you're the first mover now, and everyone is then, oh, I'm so much better to be heard now. Sorry. It's so much harder for people to follow you after that, whether it be the incumbents or whether it be new brands, because you were the first movers. What does it mean to then cultivate the people who will stick with you as the dupes pop up, as the also-rans try to reheat your nachos, as it were?
Love that. First of all, never reheat nachos. For us, we baked the mission in from day one. I'm the Chief Impact Officer. I've been there before the company launched, which is really rare. No pun intended, but I think it really speaks to the heart and soul and the mission of the brand. And from day one, we made a commitment to donate 1% of all company sales, not profits, back to the Rare Impact Fund that supports youth mental health. You could count on one hand the number of companies who make a commitment like that before ever selling their first product. So that is baked into the business, very hard to duplicate. And we build real authentic relationships with the organizations we support, the community and customers that we interact with, and that's really hard to do. It's easy to be a brand that gives back. It's easy to be a brand that cares about an issue and a mission, but it's also easy to do that as a one-off, and it's really, really hard to stay consistent and committed to that mission as you grow, and that's something that's no one can take away from us.
Absolutely. How do you think about that?
Yeah. So for us, it was, quality. And our customer. It was listening to the customer. It was building the relationship with them, but not only building the relationship with the customer, it was all the stores that carried us. We started out very small with mom and pop stores, generational businesses, surf shops, and really talking about them and bringing attention to them to help them along the way as well was something that was very important to us. And that still pays dividends to us today. And when all of the knockoffs started coming out, right, because everybody was trying to duplicate what we were doing, it ended up that it was those relationships that we had built early on that kept them coming back to Bogg Bag, and it catapulted Bogg Bag to the top of the list, and it's stayed there, thankfully.
Totally. And Jen, how have is your marketing trying to out-weird everyone else as well? And how does that form a connection with people?
We kind of try to out-weird everything. So it's not actually just in our marketing. It's true that we try to, because we know that our big competitors don't tend to take risks, we have to. So when we launch, our gluten-free pasta, kind of makes me nervous, but you have to skate on that edge of acceptability. But it actually tastes so delicious that we decided to launch with a campaign called Taste Great Naked. And, the box comes out of a steam room and drops his towel in full frontal, and it's all pixelated right in the spot, and there's salacious music, and you're like, oh my God, am I doing this? I think we're doing this. But that's kind of what we have to do. We have to push that edge a little bit. And then we also, because our competitors are the big guys, we do the little stuff. So it's really the small, tiny, unscalable things that help us scale. We write handwritten notes to our customers. We write, we send little gifts to a teacher to give to their classroom. We do the little tiny things. When people knock on our door, we open the door, we talk to people. Like, I cannot tell you how much that joy that creates, and we really do. And I'm not going to say it's a cult, but people are tattooing our logo on their bodies. They're like dressing up for our mac and cheese for Halloween. I mean, it's the love for the brand has gone so fast. We just hit shelves 3.5 years ago, so it's pretty. It's cuckoo.
Yeah, that's fast growth, and all of you have had fast growth. But we've talked about the effort made to bring people into the brand, to really forge those connections. And I think that there is a lot of work that goes into that, but there's now sort of a dangerous, once you mean something to people, right, it's very easy to betray them, to violate the sort of unspoken agreement between brand and consumer. And I think, Elyse, you can speak to this maybe the best, because Rare Beauty does index so highly with Gen Z, and they're so just clued into, especially for a purpose-led brand like Rare Beauty, it's a double-edged sword. You have the super fans, and you can very quickly turn them into, well, I'm done with that brand.
I feel like you're following us, or yeah. So I think what I actually love about it, and what also keeps me up at night, is that our community holds us accountable. And at the end of the day, brands should be held accountable. And so they are our biggest fans. And they will also be the first to question if we make the wrong decision or if we steer away from our brand values. And so for us, they just continue to hold us accountable, and for us to ensure that everything we do along the way is always true to our values, not chasing the next trend, not following what someone else is doing, but always coming back to us, which of course continues to get more and more challenging as you scale and as you grow, but that is also your brand differentiator. And so continuing to come back to that brand differentiator is what holds us strong and accountable through and through, year after year. And yeah, we launched 5.5 years ago during a global pandemic when you couldn't try on makeup. So we had to sell the brand through our mission and through trust of our products and storytelling. And that's really, and our community helped us do that. We had one photo shoot before the brand launched, one in-person photo shoot before COVID hit.
And there's, that ties to a lot of scrutiny on you too, right? I mean, it's not just the brand, it's people who represent the brand. Is that challenging?
Yes. Yeah. So people might know that Selena herself has a lot of fans. And in many ways, so many of us have become an extension of that, which again holds us accountable, but it makes us build authentic relationships with our customers. They know who we are, they come to our events, they spot us out, they see where we are, and that is also part of building a really tight community and building trust, because we're not just selling a product, but we're truly building a lifestyle and a community of people that come to also access mental health resources, to talk about the new lipstick and to talk about their mental health, which is one of, if not, one of a top 3 issues for particularly the Gen Z community. So we focus on an issue that's so prevalent to them and they really care about. And we love that young people are turning to brands for not just products, but for the issues that they care about. And also that's what holds us accountable. So.
Yeah, it's we put in our tagline, noodles gooder, and we want to be gooder. And we want to make, be, and do gooder. So when you put that out there, it's a high standard that you have to live up to. So, just about 6 months ago, we wanted to extend, and our fans wanted us to extend into microwavable cups. And there are a million choices of microwavable cup co-man manufacturers who make plastic cups and put their mac and cheese in plastic cups. And, finance is like, guys, that's the cheapest thing to do. And you're like, yeah. And we're not going to cook in plastic cups. We're going to find a way to do paper-based cups. So it takes longer. You have to have VCs and people that believe you. But if you're all aligned on the mission and you're saying that you're gooder, then you have to launch paper-based cups, no matter how long it takes. And even if it costs more, you just got to do it. So it is hard sticking to that mission because everyone's watching. Everyone's watching. It's true.
Yeah. And Kim, I mean, we were talking a little bit about generations here, but I want to talk about Bogg's ability to, I'm so sorry, I got it. Kim, we talked about mission. I want to talk a little bit about Bogg's ability to tap into sort of, everyone makes a lot of hay about Gen Z and everyone makes a lot of hay about urban consumers, but Bogg sort of did the opposite of that. You're huge with suburban moms. You're huge with Gen X. How did you, what have you learned from becoming that product and really cornering the bag and accessory market for those demographics?
Yeah, for us, we don't focus necessarily on one particular generation. Our generation is mom with kids.
Right.
So and making life for that mom with kids easier, organizing her life, making it easier to carry everything for the day, making it washable. So that's our responsibility. So we don't really have to focus necessarily on the generation. And we run all generations.
Totally.
But our generation is mom, and it's her. So we just have to keep doing everything and listening to her and coming out with things that are going to help make her life easier. So for us, it's a little bit easier in that regard. If we fail at that, then we're failing as a brand. But everything we do is to expand on that original mission.
Totally.
Well, I was just going to say the generational thing. We launched pretty recently with no money. So nobody would fund us. So we were self-funded. So, the idea of going after everyone who has a kid in the country, we at least had to skate to white space that was small enough for us to own. And so I always think about it as like bowling pins. You have to pick that first bowling pin that you're going to knock down, and you hope that it'll knock down the moms with the kids, and you hope it'll knock down the fitness community, and you hope it'll knock down all these different communities. But we had to pick one. So we picked that young adult who had eaten mac as a kid or in college but hadn't for a really long time, and we just pegged our design against that and our marketing against that and our crazy flavor names against that, and we're just hoping that it would knock down other bowling pins because we didn't have enough money to knock down any on our own. So now we're starting to see those other bowling pins fall down, and we're seeing the grandmas love us and the moms love us and all that kind of stuff, but that's a nice little side effect. We just didn't have enough money to go after all of them, but it's happening.
Right. And they come. They end up coming because the mom for us was the biggest customer, but now she's buying it for her younger daughter, and then she's buying it as a gift. So we're getting all those generations now, but our focus was on mom and on her, and it pays off dividends because now she's loving it so much that she's sharing it with other generations.
Yeah, and let me tell you, the hottest accessory at the gay beach in New York City last summer was a Bogg bag.
I love that. Yes. And I know you brought yours.
I brought mine.
Elyse, so we've talked a little bit about purpose. We've talked about how that informs the brand. And you did touch on the 1% of sales, which I can just say, from the business journalist point of view, the number of times you see something that's like, oh, we're donating X% of proceeds. Tell me what that means.
It's
Tell
actually
me what
illegal,
that means.
by the way, to say that.
Oh, great to know. Because, are you donating profit? Are you donating sales? Are you doing some fudgy accounting there? Who's to say? So it's really nice when a brand is upfront about that, and that it is sales suggests that it is really built into it, because you're not, companies aren't always turning a profit. That then means you're sacrificing that mission if you're not turning a profit, and they know that they're doing that, right? So we talked about purpose. Rare Beauty's really baked into that. Tell us about the Rare Impact Fund. Tell us about what you're doing with that, and how you build it into the world of the product.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, the Rare Impact Fund is on a mission to mobilize $100 million for youth mental health. 1% of the sales go to the fund. That's one part of the revenue stream, but we are always raising money with our community, individuals, corporate partners. We host an annual gala. To date, we've raised $30 million and support 30 nonprofits around the world, which is really, really exciting. We launched 2 new initiatives this year around AI empowerment, and just launched an RFP for non-clinical providers to increase access to youth mental health. So that's kind of all the wonky terminology. But an example of how we bake this into launches, hopefully some of you know that we just expanded into Ulta in February. As of February 1st, you can buy Rare Beauty products, not just on rarebeauty.com and in Sephora, but also in Ulta stores. And during that launch, we partnered with Ulta on the first of its kind. It was the first time Ulta ever partnered with a retail partner to have a checkout campaign where customers could round up their purchase. They could also add other dollar amounts. And at the end of the month, the donations would be split between the Ulta Charitable Foundation and the Rare Impact Fund. And at the end of the month, just over $2 million was raised throughout the month of February. And that's an example of how we really bake in, of course, the Rare Impact Fund, but also talking about the mission. And what's so exciting is that our community and Ulta customers were so excited, not just about the products, but they knew about the mission and they wanted to talk about it. We talked about it at influencer events. We talked about it at every launch event. So it's been really exciting. It's an opportunity also for our nonprofit partners to storytell to the Ulta community as well. So that's an example.
Yeah, I think it's a great example of your fans doing the marketing for you.
Yes.
In a huge way. And I think, like, to return to Jen, like, you talked about launching with very little money, not a ton of, I'm sure, marketing dollars there, and the necessity of word of mouth there. Can you talk a bit about your favorite examples? Is this dead? Your favorite examples of
I don't know.
Your fans doing the marketing for you?
No, I mean it's more. I think it's working. Okay. It's working. I think weird. It's. You know, if they say, "Oh my God, have you heard of Goodles? You have to try it," and they tell 100 people, that's so much more effective and more authentic than us running a paid ad. So we don't do that. We do invest. Believe me, we spend some money, but we spend money on people like our head of community, Emma, who's right here. Her title is Big Fan. She's a big fan. But, you know, if we see someone by themselves, just throwing a Goodles block party with their own money, we're like, oh my God, that's such a cute idea. Who else wants to throw a block party? And we'll just ship product to them. If someone's doing a 21st birthday tasting party where they're tasting all the Goodles flavors and pairing it with alcohol, we're like, oh my God, you're so cute. Anybody else want a tasting party? Like, our marketing is just amplifying the brand love and helping them get the word out to their friends. That's way more authentic than anything we could ever do on the paid side.
Right, and it comes back to product, right? I mean, if people are out there throwing block parties, or I've got a couple friends who can't eat gluten, and they're like, it is the best gluten-free mac and cheese. Well, up there.
It is. It is.
You know, that comes back to product. Kim, what are some moments for you that are like, oh, wow, these fans really, like, love us enough to talk about us and share their Bogg love?
Yeah, well, it started early on for us, but it really kind of exploded over COVID for us. I had retired after a 26-year career to take on Bogg Bag full-time in 2018 and left my job and having a paycheck to run this company to find out that COVID was going to destroy everything. But what we found was a lot of creativity come out of COVID, especially from our small retail partners that were struggling to keep the lights on. But then everybody was home and everybody was on the internet. Mm-hmm. So our first time we went viral was through Peloton Moms. And
Wow.
I don't own a Peloton. I wasn't on the Peloton, but what they were seeing was a lot of people putting their shoes and, different supplies next to their Peloton. And then everybody would start asking, hey, what is that bag? And then it was Bogg bags. And that was the first time that we actually went really viral. And then it just continued from there. But it's just the love for the bag. It's the love for the customization, for being unique and making it your own that people love to share.
Absolutely, yeah. People love to feel like tastemakers, I think. And when they discover something new or something with a mission, the way that that is refreshing in the way that Rare Beauty is, like, it is a big moment to share it with people. And that is an organic sort of marketing strategy.
Yeah, and it's really interesting for us, too, because I had never seen this before. But, like, I've seen it with, like, Stanley or another brand. But we have groups, like Bob bag groups that aren't created by us that have 40 to 60,000 people in them, which is so insane to me. But it's been super helpful where everybody's sharing their different ideas for Bogg bag and where they would go next and how they're decorating, and this offshoot of makers that make different items to hang from your Bogg bag, go in the holes of Bogg bag. So that really caused us to ramp up our charming and our bidding capabilities so that you really can make it fun. And they love to have things hanging all over the Bogg bag. So it's a good time.
Amazing.
Yeah, the customization angles, the beauty angles, for us, it's innovation. Every time we launch a new flavor, it'll be like, I'm broadcasting from aisle 23. I'm seeing thrilled cheese. It's the first time, I've ever seen this grilled cheese, mac and cheese from Goodles. Like, the influencers love finding whatever's hot and what's new. So that's just another thing that we can do faster than our competitors can. So we got to keep innovating. Fuels the community for sure.
Totally. All right, so we're in the last few minutes of the panel, which means we're entering like a lightning round of sorts. So I've got two questions here, I think. One, I'll start with Elyse and then go down, and then we'll go in reverse. One is, what is one thing that, like, your brand refuses to do, even if a spreadsheet or a bottom line says that it's the thing that would be conventionally done?
I would say anything that has us veer from our brand values and our brand mission, and many times that might be around chasing a trend that's not true to who we are.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kim, what would Bogg never do?
Quit. It's been a tough go for us with all of the people trying to nip at our heels, but we have to stay above that. We have to innovate at a lightning fast level, which is something great with a small brand, and we can be quick and nimble, and you have to stay quick and nimble because if you don't come out with it, somebody else will.
Totally.
For us, we would never cut our quality or how delicious or the nutrition. That is the brand promise, is yum plus nutrition. And Kraft says they're coming at us this year with $600 million and try to slow us down. Like, we're not going to cut our quality, we're not going to cut our nutrition, we're not going to make it less delicious. We're just going to hope that there's enough people to fuel our kind of business and brand.
Totally. And last lightning round question, which is, and we'll start with you because... Oh,
good.
All right.
There we go.
We love our first responders. They're important. What's something, you sort of came up in a scrappy way. Like, what's something a founder who's sort of out here looking for VC money or looking to get started, what's something you'd say, hey, write this on a sticky note, remember this rule, keep this in mind as you're trying to launch and grow?
It feels really daunting when you're starting something new. And I guess I would say, if my Post-it note would say, on my mirror, would say, you have exactly what they could never have. You are small. You are scrappy. You are nimble. And there's nothing that those big competitors can do to try to be you. So you have everything you need. So go for it. What are you waiting for?
That's great. Kim?
Yeah, for mine would be bootstrap as long as you can, right? And learn how to do everything. I started a business and didn't know anything about it. I was a mom in my 40s. I had been in a career that was unrelated to what I wanted to do with Bogg Bag. And the idea for me was to learn how to do everything myself before I ask anybody to do something for me. And that goes to plunging the toilets in the warehouse or cleaning the floor or packing the boxes or doing the payroll. There was no payroll. I had no employees, but when we got down to that. But do as much as you can. You can do it. It's easy to say, oh, I'm going to hire this person and this person and this person, but you need to learn it yourself first.
Absolutely. And Elyse, you get the final word.
Our sticky note would say, stay true to your brand point of difference.
Absolutely. Amazing. Well, thank you all, Jen, Kim, Elyse. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.